welcome to the final show of the season for this year's Port Clinton Middle School Video Magazine. I'm Jasmine Crawford, one of your hosts, and we've got a great show lined up.
That's right, Jasmine. It's been a busy trimester, and we can't wait to tell you all about it. I'm Serenity Dig. On this episode, we'll share a variety of stories involving academics, sports, field trips, and more.
So let's start today's show with a segment about a very popular event here at PCMS, the 5K race. I ran the race this year, and Serenity was with me at the starting line to catch all the action. Let's take a look. Hi, I'm Jasmine Crawford. Joining me today is Serenity Dig. Today is a 5K, and I'm going to be running it.
Today is the 10th year of us doing this, of Port Clinton Middle School doing this event, and it's $10 per person. And to prepare for some of the kids, they prepared by doing the 5K training club, which Miss Ackerman and Miss Reineck are the leaders of. And if you're in the 5K club training, then your fee is waived and you don't have to pay the $10. They'll pay it for you. And when Mondays and Wednesdays are the days we meet for the 5K club training till 3:30 after school.
Afterwards, pizza, drinks, and cookies will be provided to those who had run the race, along with the t-shirt.
Okay, so we're about to start, and Jasmine has to go get ready, so I'll see you guys at the finish line. Good luck. Okay, I'm here with Lee Arbina, Nolan Chambers, and Maddie Weekman. Lee finished in first place, Nolan got second, and Maddie got third. Why did you guys do the 5K, and how long have you been doing it?
First year, and I don't know.
This is my third year doing it, and I just wanted to do it to prove a lot of people wrong that I can run.
Maddie?
This is my second time doing this 5K, and I just like running, so yeah.
What did you guys do to prepare for the 5K?
Run all around town.
I did not do anything to prepare, but I've been running my whole life.
Well, I had track, so I prepared there, and then I did the runners club through the school, so.
If you had advice for future 5K runners or runners in general, what would you say?
Just finish.
Finish strong and don't give up. Like, I was gagging, but I still was going, and I still got in second.
Don't start out too fast. Lots of people like to start out way too fast, and then they end up dying, so pace yourself and save for the end.
Okay, thank you guys, and congratulations to all the runners. You guys did great. Yeah. We thank Mrs. Dackerman and Miss Reineck and Miss Sanchez for having us and letting us run the 5K this year.
Wow, what a great event. Next up is fairly new segment on the show, a movie review. Carlito Otero shares this thoughts on the recently released movie Endgame.
A new movie has surfaced in the box office called Avengers Endgame. This movie was released on April 16th, 2019. It made $1.2 billion overall and is pleasing many Marvel fans. Personally, I enjoyed this movie a lot and think it's worth seeing. I was able to sit down with Nick Elson, who is here with me right now, who has seen both movies, and asked him what he thought. So, Nick, let's start off easy. Did you like Endgame, and why?
Yes, sir, I did like Endgame. It was the ending to some of the Marvel franchise characters, and the big Infinity War we saw.
Okay. Who do you think had the saddest death in Endgame?
I would have to go with Iron Man because, he was one of my favorite characters, and yeah, I just didn't want to see him go.
Did you like the new Thanos in Endgame?
Yes, sir, I did because, I liked his double-bladed sword he had, and yeah.
Oh, would you recommend Endgame to any friends who haven't seen it yet?
Yes, sir, I would recommend Endgame to friends who have not seen it.
Okay, last question for you, Nick. If Avengers could have done one thing different, what would you change?
Saving my man Iron Man, keeping him alive during the Endgame so we can see more of him.
I would agree. Well, thank you, Nick, for joining me today. Thanks for answering my questions. Wow, Endgame does seem like a really good movie. So if you're looking for something to watch with the family or even alone, then Endgame might be your movie. And if you're a Marvel fan as well, then you're going to want to see this movie. I'm Carlito Otero, signing off.
Looks like an action-packed movie. Do you plan on seeing it very soon?
Yeah, well, my mom's going to take me to see it, or we're just going to watch it at our house. It just depends. Well, I'm sure many of us will be heading to the movies this summer to catch the latest releases. But there's still a lot of learning to be done before summer break. And what a better way to learn than by hosting a science fair. Let's check in with Cadence Wallace, who was able to sit down with Miss Griffin, the person who planned it.
Hello, I'm Cadence Wallace, and here with me is Mrs. Griffin. Hello. Just recently, she hosted a 8th grade science fair, and I'm going to ask her questions about it. Okay, my first question for you is, where did you get the idea of the science fair?
Well, I think the science fair is an old-fashioned idea anyway. I think even back to forever with even your own parents, you could ask them, have you had a science fair? And they would probably say yes. So as a teacher, I was a little hesitant to should I keep doing something so old-fashioned? But I love the creativity it brings out in students, and I think it's just an awesome time to showcase that. So especially with 8th grade and being the end of your middle school years, I thought it was really important to kind of let you take everything you've learned up to science at this point and see what you could do with it. So I just felt like that would take something good and keep it going.
Do you think the creativity that the students got from this can help them later in life, like with their careers or what they want to be when they grow up?
Absolutely. Because what I love about this project too is it gives them a chance to show their independence. They come up with their own ideas, but then there's also a little bit of collaboration involved because then I also had group projects, I had people working, partners, and so it was a little bit of both. And that's 21st century skills you're going to need when you go out into the workforce, whether it's coming up with your own creative ideas by yourself or whether it's working in a team. And I think that is super important. And as far as the creativity goes, again, that's why I love doing this. When I set parameters for my students, a lot of times I'm not letting them go to their fullest potential. So giving them something like this and saying, have at it, do what you want, do your passion. They come up with ideas I would never even think to do. And I think you were a primary example of that because your project was there ever nothing, right?
Yeah.
And so you went a very philosophical route that I never would have thought to do. And I wouldn't, to be honest, I wouldn't have expected an 8th grader to take something at such a depth of a level and a mature topic, and you did it, and you aced it with flying colors. So
I didn't want to do a basic volcano or anything like that. That's happened before. I just wanted to express what I was thinking about at the time.
Right, and I love that. So I got to see it. That really honestly made me look at you in a whole new light. Wow, Cadence is really philosophical, and I love her thinking, and so I love that you got to show that. For sure.
How was first place chosen here?
First place, we instead of just one first place winner, we decided to go with each class would have a first, second, and third place winner. Yeah. Still kind of in the current process because what I'm doing is that we took top 3 votes from every single student, and when they walked around their own class, they got to put their own votes in. So we've tallied those up, and then what we'll also do is I'll look over the overall grade. So once all the projects are graded, because I don't want somebody to get first place if they really didn't do so hot on it. It wouldn't make sense. So it's kind of a little bit of a mix of both.
You want to make sure the first place winner put effort in and did a outstanding job?
Right, because I always tell the kids, it's not a popularity contest. We really want to see, there was a lot of good groups that put in a lot of effort, and I want that to be noticed.
Yes.
So, yep.
My final question for you is, at first, before the science fair, what did you expect the students to create? What do you expect them to be as creative as they were, or as...
Or some the same. honestly, every year it's like some don't shock me because I'm always gonna have those one or two that are like, we want to do the volcano, and I'm like, you know what? If they really want to do the volcano one, as long as they can follow the whole scientific method process and show me they did it, I'm like, okay, have at it. If that's your one time in your science career to do that, have at it. But so those are some of the more typical things. And then as you saw how I gave you the whole list of like options if people struggle to come up with a topic, sometimes they take that option. But then you get other ideas where people were bringing in stuff and I'm like just totally thrown back, completely in awe of like, can't believe they did that. So like behind me, catapult would be more of a typical one we would see, but I still love to see the students create that on their own and figure out how to build it. So it's a little bit of an engineering design process. This was amazing. This was one that threw me in awe. It looks dangerous. It's not. This is a catapult cannon, really. So it's like a golf ball cannon that they did, and they tested the different densities of marbles and different tennis balls and things like that.
That's
and
creative.
stuff. I know, and it's the fact that they went out and bought their own PVC pipe. They went out and they had to put it together. They really engineered and put that all together, and I was like, there's no way, because I don't even think I could build that. So it just fascinates me what they can do that, even as their teacher, I wouldn't even think of.
I have one more question for you, actually. Were you inspired as a kid, or did you make any science fair project before this class?
That's why you asked that. As being old-fashioned as it is, I was never afforded the opportunity for science fair.
Really?
I never actually did science fair myself, so I wish I would have. I had more like, I've been in classes where you still design things, and like in math, how you guys are doing the bridges and stuff. I've done things like STEM projects like that, and I love that kind of creativity, but I haven't got that. But I've totally been inspired in general from all my teachers. That's actually why I came back here to Fort Clinton.
Really?
Had Mr. Heilman as my 8th grade social studies teacher. Mr. Ackerman was my 8th grade math teacher. So, I mean, I really was inspired overall by Fort Clinton Middle School.
That's good.
Just keep passing it forward. So,
Yeah.
yep.
Thank you for joining me today. And to end this segment, here are some pictures from the science fair.
There certainly was a lot of great projects at the science fair. Something else that was great was the spring sports pep assembly. Here with that story is Cy Nicoloy.
Recently, Portland Middle School students honored their spring sports athletes at a pep assembly. The event took place on Thursday, May 23rd in the PCMS gym at the end of the day. The pep assembly started out with Miss File introducing the boys and girls track team. She made sure to mention the fact that the girls won the SBC championship this year and several student athletes broke school records. In addition, some of the girls were SBC champions in cross-country and swimming as well. That's quite an accomplishment. After that, the championship for the dodgeball tournament took place with Mrs. Dackerman running the event. Here to tell us more is Nolan Chambers.
The annual Dodgeball for Heart tournament was held this month at PCMS. Ms. Dackerman and the Student Council have organized this annual event for many years. All money raised goes towards the American Heart Association. The cost to participate in the tournament was $10, and a total of $1,139 was raised for the cause. The winning student team this year was Straight Off the Couch. They won the right to compete against the staff, and the staff won. Here are some clips of the student games. Special thanks to Ms. Dackerman and Student Council for organizing this event, and to all the participants. Back to you.
It's time for a story featuring a fun field trip Fleet 7 students took to the Toledo Zoo. Macy Alguera has more.
Earlier this month, Fleet 7 took a field trip to the Toledo Zoo. It took place on Friday, May 17th. 128 7th grade students and 11 chaperones boarded 4 buses to head to the zoo. Students from the Compass class also joined them. Fleet 7 teachers conducted an interdisciplinary unit the two days prior to the trip to prepare them. In addition, they completed a scavenger hunt while they were there. In order to earn the privilege of attending, students could not serve any in-school or out-of-school suspensions or have 2 or more failing grades in their classes. This is not a field trip that they normally take. However, they had originally planned to attend Toledo Walleye hockey game earlier this year, but due to the weather, the trip was canceled and not able to be rescheduled. The students had a great experience while at the same time reinforcing what they had learned in the classroom. Thank you to the teachers involved in planning for this trip.
That looked like a lot of fun. Ashley Webb is joining us now to introduce the next segment.
Thank you, Jasmine. We are so lucky that we got to travel outside of the district to experience learning in action. And someone that knows a lot about that. An 8th grade history teacher, Mr. Halleman, our teacher feature for this episode. I was able to catch up with him earlier this week.
Hi, I'm Ashley Webb, and today I'm joined by 8th grade American history teacher, Mr. Halleman. He really knows his history, but we thought it would be more fun to learn more about him. So, Mr. Halleman, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Okay, when you were younger, did you ever want to become a teacher?
Not really. I wanted to be a sports reporter at first.
Did you have any desire to be a teacher when you were younger?
No, not until I got to college. In college, it kind of hit me that that's what I wanted to do.
Did you want to teach in a different grade or anything?
I thought I would teach high school, but then I did my student teaching in 7th grade, and I really liked middle school, so I decided to shoot for that.
What do you enjoy most about teaching?
Well, I think it's always interesting. It's always interacting with the students, I think, is my favorite part. And then I get to talk about history, which I love, so that's pretty cool too.
When you're not at school, like during summer, what do you do?
Well, I spend a lot of time with my family. I like to read. I like to play video games. I like to occasionally relax, but that doesn't happen very often.
Thank you for joining me today, Mr. Halleman.
Thank you for inviting
me. I
me.
hope you take some time off after your Washington, D.C. trip.
I'm going to need it, so thank you.
It's great to have Mr. Halleman here, and I'm really looking forward to the upcoming D.C. trip. And while Mr. Halleman has been busy planning our exciting trip, some students have been busy reading the latest novel turned movie. Mackenzie Jennings and Candace Wallace are featuring our very first book review on the show. Let's roll on the footage now, please.
Hello, I'm Candace Wallace, and I'm here with Mackenzie Jennings, and we will be giving the first book review ever to be on the Port Clinton Middle School Video Magazine TV show.
Today we are giving a book review to John Green's A Fault in Our Stars. This book is a mixture of romance and drama.
This book also sold 10.7 million copies around the world.
Common Sense Media gave it a book review of 5 out of 5, and Goodreads gave it a 4.2 out of 5.
To start with questions, Mackenzie, who was your favorite character?
My favorite character was Isaac because I think he gave a whole new perspective of the book without changing it a lot as a non-main character.
True. And who was your least favorite character?
My least favorite character would have to be the pastor because he tried to connect with the children, but he wouldn't really do that as much as he thought he could.
That is true. I agree with that on the least favorite character part because he can never understand what they were going through. And my favorite character is Augustus Waters because he adds like a whole new deep meaning to the book that we wouldn't have expected.
Who was your least favorite then?
Oh, that's the pastor.
Oh.
My other question for you, Mackenzie, is what was your favorite line?
My favorite line would have to be when Augustus says, "I'm on a roller coaster that only goes up." I feel like that kind of foreshadows events in the thing, and it's one of the lines that kind of sticks with you throughout the book.
My favorite line is something from Augustus that says, "It's a metaphor, see? You put the killing thing right between your teeth, but you don't give it the power to do its killing." I think this is a really important line because it shows you how much power you do not have in life and how much power you could have.
I agree.
But in their situation, they don't have any, so it's not their fault.
And how would you change the book if we were to write it?
If I rewrote the book, I'd put it in more characters' point of views instead of just Hazel's. Like I want to know what Augustus felt when he got his diagnosis.
I think that would be an interesting perspective. If I had to change the book, I wouldn't change much, just a few little things here and there, but not much. I think it was a really good book overall.
That's true. I like it. Online, we found reviews from different people. One review said, "Expect to shed many tears."
On a website called Kid Reviews, one of the comments said, "It really makes you think about the world and appreciate the miracle of your own life." I think these quotes kind of give it a whole new perspective on the book and give an opinion that many people thought while reading.
I really like that this person got a really deep meaning from the book, and I hope it helps them through life.
I agree. These are really deep meanings. I feel like many people felt those things. So thank you for joining us on this segment of the Port Clinton Middle School Video Magazine. We hope that you found our book review very helpful, and even if you don't like romance and drama, I do recommend this book. Until next time, back to the studio.
Sounds like a great book. Besides reading, students have lots of plans regarding how they intend to spend their summer. Caitlin Robinette was able to find out just what students are planning to do with their summer vacation time.
Hi, I'm Caitlin, and today we are going to go around and see what people's summer plans are since school is ending. So, Alexis, what are your plans for summer?
I just got a Cedar Point pass and go swimming a lot and have a couple weddings.
So how about you, Elias?
I'm going to be playing football a lot, basketball, and working out.
So what are you doing, Akela?
I will be camping a lot, and I have basketball practice and going to Cedar Point.
So Mrs. Carney, what are your summer plans?
My summer plans are to do a lot of camping, and we attend a lot of horse shows because we're a horse family. So that takes up the majority of our time.
Jenna, what are your summer plans?
I plan on going to Cedar Point a lot and hanging out with my friends.
Sounds like our students are very busy this summer. What are you planning to do this summer?
Well, I plan on going to the Washington, D.C. trip, and I plan on going to Florida for a few weeks. What about you?
Well, I'm going to the Washington, D.C. trip with you and Sarah, and then I have summer softball and I work with my sister.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
In other news, Fleet 6 traveled to Toledo to take in a baseball game as a part of their baseball theme unit. Here with that story is Demetrius Skofis.
Students on sixth grade took a trip to Toledo recently as a reward as good behavior on Wednesday. May 15th, 119 students and 8 chaperones got on 3 buses to see the Toledo Mudhens baseball team to take on the Tides. In order to qualify, students could not have 2 detentions or serve in-school or out-of-school suspensions. The good news is a lot of 6th graders were able to attend. Preparing for the trip activities were done in classroom and around the theme of baseball. According to 6th grade teacher, Miss Halsey, the Mudhens game was amazing. It was a beautiful day and students enjoyed watching the game. In addition, they had so much fun. This was a great way to end their unit on baseball, and everyone had a great time. Thanks to Fleet 6 teachers for organizing this fun event.
Next year, 8th graders will be at the high school and will have lots of choices for extracurricular activities. One of those choices is drama club.
That's right, Jasmine. The officers from the high school drama club found a great way to introduce the fun of acting to middle school students. They called it Workshop Wednesdays, and I did a little research of it. Here's what I learned. Hello, I'm Serenity. Something dramatic has been happening in the Fleet 7 pod recently on Wednesdays after school. Drama Club Workshop Wednesdays. This was created last year by the members of the high school drama club to encourage middle school students to give acting a try. This was the second year for it and took place 3 Wednesdays after school in May. The president, historian, secretary, and treasurer ran the workshops. They started out by introducing themselves and having everyone state why they were interested in the Workshop Wednesdays. They also led students through exercises to help sharpen their acting skills. Overall, these help prepare students for what they'll experience if they choose to participate in drama club at the high school. Many students love the fall play and spring musicals productions each year, and it makes a lot of people pull those shows off. Hopefully, Workshop Wednesdays have sparked an interest in younger students to join the drama club in the high school. Back to you.
While some of these students will showcase their talents on the high school stage someday, others will be performing right here for their classmates at the end of the year talent show. Mackenzie Jennings caught up with some students that will be participating this year. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Jennings for the Port Clinton Middle School Video Magazine, and today I'm going to be talking about the talent show. The talent show has been going on for roughly 6 years now and is taking place this year on June 6th. This is a great opportunity for all the students to get away from the classroom environment and get to watch their peers perform their talents. In the past, the students have danced, sang, and even played music to entertain their peers. Today I'm interviewing talent show participants Kaylee Barton-Cashmere and Chloe Barton-Cashmere. Welcome. So what are you guys doing for the talent show?
We're singing.
What are you singing?
The Schuyler Sisters from Hamilton.
Have you ever been in the talent show before?
Yes.
Have you?
No.
And how are you guys feeling about performing?
Scared.
How are you feeling?
Nervous.
I'm sure you'll do fine. And what acts are you looking forward to seeing when you're not performing?
Dancing.
What are you looking forward to?
Dancing.
Well, I'm sure we're going to get to see some amazing acts. The talent show is an amazing way to end the year, and I'm really looking forward to it. Good luck to all the talent show participants. I'm Mackenzie Jennings for the Port Clinton Middle School Video Magazine.
I can't wait to see all the acts this year. Another thing that some of our students look forward to every year is basketball season. And it's not just limited to the school seasons anymore. Some athletes play year-round in other leagues. Here with more information on this is Nolan Chambers and Carlito Otero.
Hello, my name is Carlito Otero.
And my name is Nolan Chambers.
Joining us today is Mr. Messer, our Vice Principal, to talk about AAU basketball.
Good morning, Mr. Messer.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Yep, thank you for being here. So Mr. Messer, could you explain what the difference is between an AAU team and a school team?
A school team and an AAU team have some similarities, some differences. The similarities, I guess we could start with, obviously you're playing basketball together. You have to try out to make the team. Differences kind of start to fall in with the cost of AAU.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of AAU is definitely much higher than playing for any school team. Some of the requirements of AAU from 7th grade on up, you can only have 2 kids per school, so you're not playing with all of your school classmates. Those are probably 2 of the major differences, and then obviously travel for AAU as well is definitely way different than just school league.
Okay.
How many people are usually on an AAU team?
Anywhere from 8 to 10 is probably ideal. You get more than that, it's a lot to try to fit into a game, especially when you're talking people pay big money to play on these teams and you want to get everybody some time to play. So anywhere from 8 to 10, 10's probably ideal because then you can still practice 5-on-5. 8 is actually more than likely better, I guess, when you get in tournaments because then you don't got to worry about playing as many. But 10 probably would be my advice so you could have good practices and still have solid playing time in tournaments.
Okay, so how and when can people try out for AAU basketball?
Generally it's after their school season ends, so roughly for us in this area you're talking end of February, beginning of March, somewhere in that time frame. OHSAA rules state that you can't try out for a team or participate in that stuff while your school season's still going on, so you have to wait until that season's over.
Okay. What are games and practices like?
Very similar to regular practices as far as that goes. Most coaches in AAU tend to get a lot more 5-on-5 scrimmaging time going on in their practices just because really you want those players to get the chance to play together more before you start to play real games that count on the scoreboard there, as opposed to a school practice where you guys have grown up together, you've played together for years prior to really keeping score and things like that. There's always skill work, things like that involved in both school practices and AAU practices. Games are a little bit different. AAU plays by halves. Schools are still by quarters in the state of Ohio. Usually in 7th grade on up, you're talking probably 14-minute halves, I think, if I'm remembering right off the top of my head. And I think they play 6-minute quarters, 6 or 7-minute quarters in your guys' regular season games. So a little bit different of a format, I guess. The other big thing different in AAU is to keep the tournaments running on time. If you get 20-point or more leads, it goes to running clock. Clock only stops on timeouts and dead balls. So that's another major difference, I guess, between regular school games.
Last question. Would you recommend AAU for new players?
New players just starting to learn the game of basketball, I don't know that AAU is necessarily the best thing for them. There's rec leagues, things like that around for those kids to kind of start to learn the game a little bit. Maybe camps would be a better option if you're looking to spend money as a new player, because that helps you work on your skills, learn and understanding the rules of the game, things like that. You get to AAU, generally it's players that have played basketball for a little while and understand what they're doing out there. A lot of the times you're talking some of the more talented players on their teams, their school teams, that are making AAU teams. So it's tough to say if you're just learning the game or starting to get into the game of basketball, throw you out there with those kids. That might be a difficult challenge.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Messer, for joining us today.
We hope to see you around, and good luck with all the AAU players.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
It's the last week of school, and for many students, that means final exams and end of the year projects. For 8th graders, it also means Cedar Point. I collected some information about Cedar Point to share with our viewers. Students from Fleet 8 will soon be heading to Cedar Point for our end of the year reward trip. Here's a little information about the amusement park. Cedar Point originally opened in 1870 with 364 anchors. It is the second oldest operating amusement park in the United States. First is Lake Compounce. This park features a world record of 72 rides. This year on June 5th, students from Port Clinton Middle School will be taking a trip to Cedar Point. This is the 15th year they've gone, and according to their teachers, it's a good incentive for students to work hard throughout the year in order to be able to participate in the reward activity. We're all really looking forward to this trip this year. It's a great way to end the middle school careers. Thank you for everyone that made this trip possible.
I can't wait to go to Cedar Point later this week. What are you going to be doing at Cedar Point?
Well, probably hanging out with a lot of my friends. I've never rode a roller coaster, so I'm really excited to do that.
Well, I'm going to be riding the Power Tower with Sarah. So, yeah. Earlier on this show, you saw our track athletes getting introduced at the Spring Sports Pep Assembly. They had an awesome season, and Caitlin Robinette and Macy Algarin are here to tell us more about their award-winning season.
Track season recently ended, and it was a very good season for PCMS. There are 32 members on the girls' track team and 15 on the boys. Their season started in one more invitational on April 5th and ended at the SBC meet on May 4th. They are coached by Carrie File, Mike Spencer, Adam Sifke, and Matt Schlumbum.
In addition to many athletes recording their personal best times, this season was extra special as the girls won the SBC meet. Preliminary events were held Thursday, May 2nd, with the finals on Saturday, May 4th. When all was said and done, the boys placed 6th overall and the girls ran away with first place.
There are several record-breaking performances, including Maddie Weekman at the 1600, Cami Perriott in the 400-meter dash, and Jacob Weldon, who broke his brother's record in the 200 hurdles.
This year's track team did great. Lots of broken records, fast runners, and good throwers. They hope to continue the momentum into next year.
Congratulations to all our track athletes on a great season. Our last segment features a festival that we will all look forward to this year, the Walleye Fest. Sinek Loy and Demetrius Scofis have that story.
Summer kicked off recently as the annual Walleye Fest came to town. The festival takes place every Memorial Day weekend, and this year it was Thursday, May 23rd through Monday, May 27th.
It's set up at Waterworks Park, and over 130 vendors from around the nation come to celebrate the start to summer. There are lots of good food vendors there, including bourbon chicken, cheese curds, fried Oreos, fried Snickers, elephant ears, funnel cakes, and fresh squeezed lemonade.
In addition to the food, there was also a lot of great rides. My favorite was the Typhoon.
I really like the Orbiter, but one of the highlights of the event every year in the parade, which took place on Saturday.
The event also included free live concerts, a kids fishing derby, and education games and activities.
The Walleye Festival is the perfect summer kickoff. If you plan on attending next year, be sure to visit the Lake Erie Shores and Islands website for a complete schedule of activities.
Well, thanks for watching this edition of the Port Clinton Middle School Video Magazine. We hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed putting it together.
We'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the teachers, administrators, and staff members that have made this year a fun and eventful one. Thanks for watching. Have a great summer, and we'll see you next year.